The Star and Stripe arc has officially wrapped up in the anime, and just like it did 3 years ago, discourse in the My Hero Academia fandom was brought up on how the potential of Star and Stripe was wasted, and today I really want to go over whether or not Star and Stripe as a character was wasted in the series, and how I think the fandom's opinions on Star and Stripe being wasted will end up changing in the future. In order to really break this down, we have to talk about the Star and Stripe arc and her big debut in the series. Now, when Star first makes her introduction in My Hero Academia, it was absolute hype. Horikoshi expanded the world in such a big way by having America's #1 hero come in guns blazing to fight the series' main antagonist, Shigaraki. For many, this was already a major red flag, as this was a supposed big-time hero, only making her big debut in the series in its final act to fight Shigaraki, who at this point has the power of All for One, who is meant to challenge Deku in the series' final arc. It was looking pretty grim for Star, to say the least. Star, for the most part, had made a positive impact on fans by being a hero not from Japan, as My Hero Academia's story in its entirety has taken place solely in Japan. So it was refreshing to see that there were other heroes not from Japan that were finally going to play a role in the story. But at the same time, the fact that Star had come into the series at a point to fight Shigaraki at his strongest, it was already not looking so good for her. Star and Stripe throughout the entire arc was such a likable character too. She was someone who was inspired by All Might to become a hero, which we've already experienced with Deku and many others. She had some clear faults of self-doubt in the way that she always compared herself to her hero that made her relatable, on top of being the first female hero in the series that was the #1 hero in her country with an absolutely powerful quirk, New Order, that even All for One had feared to go up against. All in all, Star did not disappoint in giving fans a character to root for and love right out of the gate, along with her fight with Shigaraki going down as one of the best fights in the series. But unfortunately, she ends up dying at the hand of Shigaraki. She dies in the very same arc she gets introduced in, which because of this is where the discourse begins. Her death had led fans to feel that Star and her potential as a character was wasted just to give Deku and the others a little bit of time to get stronger and come up with a plan to better handle All for One and Shigaraki. It was a huge letdown, and I completely agree. Star had a lot to offer as a character. The little backstory she was given in the arc made me and tons of others want to see how she ended up becoming the #1 hero in America. The top pros in Japan, All Might, Endeavor, and Hawks, all have had major character arcs that made us care, cry, and understand why they are at the top. But the little time she's given in the series, while great, also made many not really care about her death. She was fodder to an extent, giving Shigaraki a major W under his belt to show that he is a threat to not only Japan, but the rest of the world, as he was able to take out the strongest woman around. And while this was an insane win for Shigaraki, and does prove that he is no joke, at the same time, it felt like an empty W, as we don't have anything on Stars' prior achievements to go off of that makes this win for Shigaraki and All for One such a big deal. We are just told by All for One that Star was a major threat to him, and while she did prove that she was, her lack of build-up leading to the start of the Star and Stripe arc took away any tension fans had on Star making it out of the arc alive. For many, she was practically dead on arrival, and that's exactly what happened. To compare things, when Shigaraki fought Endeavor and the other heroes in the Paranormal Liberation War arc, you feared for characters like Gran Torino, Endeavor, and Aizawa, because we've had moments with these characters that made us care for them. You want to see Gran Torino make it out so he can witness Deku become a great hero. You want to see Endeavor survive so he can atone for what he's done to his family. You want to see Aizawa be able to see his students thrive and become the heroes he knows that they can be. But for Star, you don't really feel any of that. Believe me, I love Star as a character, and without spoiling anything, she does end up having a lasting impact on the story after her death. That makes her sacrifice in this arc super important. But while I do feel that she is important to the overarching narrative, along with her potential as a character being wasted right now, I do feel that this won't be the case forever. You see, when Volume 32 dropped, in an extra page, Horikoshi had stated that once the series is is over, he'd like to write a short story called The Lovely Lady Nagant, the Brightest Caged Star. He even said that he could fill an entire volume of just Nagant's backstory, and what we got in the volume itself was just an abridged version of it. This to me means that once things are said and done with Deku's story, other characters will get fleshed out in their own little spin-offs, enhancing the main story as a whole. Who's to say that the same won't be done with Star and Stripe? For fans, Nagant is sort of on the same boat with Star when it comes to her potential being wasted, but the difference between the two of them are that Nagant survives the arc she's introduced in, giving her an opportunity to be utilized in the future, and she had Hawks to bounce off of. We all knew that the Hero Public Safety Commission was a little shady given what Hawks was made to do by them, but her bombshell reveal of their corruption and what it did to her made us feel bad for her as well as Hawks. It unraveled a darker side to the lovable pro hero, where you realize everything that the Hero Public Safety Commission put Nagant through was the same thing that Hawks had went through. Both heroes have blood on their hands that couldn't be washed, all done in the name of the facade that was Hero Society, thus paralleling each other in the best way possible. So seeing a story revolving around Nagant and her past sometime after the series is over would greatly enhance her character and her introduction in the series. It's important to remember that Horikoshi takes a great inspiration from Star Wars. References to Star Wars is littered all throughout My Hero Academia, and a big thing that Star Wars does is introduce important characters in movies, kills them off, and they are fleshed out through spin-offs that makes us appreciate and love them more upon rewatching those movies. Think about it. In Phantom Menace, we are introduced to Jedi Qui-Gon Jinn, the master of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and while a cool character, in the same movie he's introduced in, he also dies in as well. A lot of fans of Star Wars back then felt the same way a lot of fans of My Hero Academia feel about Star and Stripe today, in that his character had a ton of potential and got wasted. But as the years went on and spin-offs like Clone Wars, Tales of the Jedi, and comic book tie-ins that dealt with Qui-Gon's character before and after his death made Qui-Gon a super fleshed out character that fans loved, and made his death in Phantom Menace's Duel of the Fates that much more important. Funny enough, My Hero Academia has already done this before with Aizawa, Present Mike, and Shirakumo. In the main series, we find out that Kurogiri was created using the body of Shirakumo, a friend of Aizawa and Present Mike, who they all thought were dead. It's an emotional scene in My Hero Academia, but it isn't fleshed out all that much in the main series. That's because in the prequel series Vigilantes, Aizawa has an arc going over their time in UA where we see that friendship fleshed out, along with Shirakumo's tragic death. For anime-only viewers, you won't feel that emotional impact of Aizawa finding out that Shirakumo is alive in this cruel and twisted way, because that Aizawa arc is exclusive to the prequel series. So it's not like that reveal in the anime comes out of nowhere, it just lacks that context that the prequel provides to make that scene have a real emotional impact on you. So while I do agree that Star and Stripe does feel like a wasted character now, I don't think that will be the case forever, as My Hero Academia as a franchise does tend to further flesh out their side characters through various spin-offs that enhances what has already been shown in the main series, and I can 100% see Star and Stripe getting that very same treatment, and who knows, maybe a Star and Stripe focused movie focusing on her journey to becoming #1 would be an amazing way to do it. Let me know in the comment section below, was Star and Stripe's potential as a character wasted in the series, or are you like me where you do feel that she was wasted to a certain extent, but believe her story will continue via prequel content that fleshes her out as a character even further? Let me know everything in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit, smash that like button down below, share the video with your friends, and if you're new to the Kitoroki channel, be sure to subscribe for more My Hero Academia content. With that said, I'll see you all in the next one.